Seterusnya, majlis menjemput Encik Kelvin, CEO Projek ID untuk perkongsian keempat pada petang ini yang akan berfokus mengenai creating safe space. Dipersilakan.
Hai, salam sejahtera cikgu-cikgu semua. Untuk senaman yang seterusnya, no, I cannot do it as well as our students did. Please give them another round of applause. So good. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kelvin, and I am here to share with you a topic of two things. Two things that we are quite familiar with as an organization, which is creating safe spaces and student leadership. Right. Now, before I share with you about what I'm going to walk through in today's session, allow me to briefly introduce myself and also the organization that I represent. So sebenarnya, I started my career as a public school teacher, sebagai guru dalam perkhidmatan. That's how I started my career in a school called SMK Pandamaran Jaya in Klang. Shortly after that, a few years later, I left to join corporate. I spent some time in corporate, taking on a few leadership positions. I also work in the mental health technology startup called Naluri. And today, I lead an organization called Project ID. So what we do in Project ID is we develop soft skills in three areas: student leadership, social emotional learning, and career readiness. And what this covers is a series of programs. And our programs cover both students as well as educators. So we do run teacher training, we do run counselor training for public schools in Malaysia. And the thing is, how this all started, my passion and my team's passion started in Project ID was when I was a teacher in school. Semasa dalam perkhidmatan di sekolah, I taught a lot of students. I had about 400 students that I taught in. I taught geography, so 3 subjects, many classes. And I saw that a lot of my students wanted to improve in their soft skills. But the programs that were coming to them, they were not satisfied. So then, me together with a few other teachers, we designed a series of activities on soft skills to help with our students. Fast forward today, we have worked with more than 5,000 students in Malaysia who come from more than 300 schools across the country today. And some of our students who have achieved some successes. Melvin here, this year, got accepted into Stanford University. Ariana is a Yayasan Khazanah scholar, finishing her SPM this year, or early next year. Shusin, as you can see, the third one, is one of the 3 Malaysian students who got accepted into Harvard University. And Kalista is a Shell Scholarship recipient, currently finishing her A-levels. Now, if you talk to some of our students, they will say that they come to Project ID to improve themselves and increase their personal development. But what I want to say is that we can't do this alone. It takes a village to raise a child. And we are supported by many different partners. We work with different organizations to run our program. But most importantly, I also want to recognize all the teachers, the parents, the support system. They are part of their lives to help them be successful. But coming back to our program, whenever we ask our students like Melvin, like Ariana, why do you still come back to Project ID? What makes you so interested in our programs? There is a common word, common theme that always comes up, which is safe space. They always say that Project ID facilitators, Project ID, cikgu-cikgu di Project ID, they are always creating safe spaces for us. So, what does that mean, right? And today, in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to share with you some very simple concepts. Some very simple concepts about safe spaces. But cikgu-cikgu semua, I want you to know that what you are going to hear from me is not new for you. It won't be new. Because sebab kita semua di sini, we have a lot of experience. Collectively, we have hundreds of years of experience in this room, in teaching, in education. But what I'm hoping to do after this 10 to 15 minutes is that you can inspire with what we have shared, with what we have learned in our organization. It can inspire new thoughts to create new possibilities for our children in the classroom. So let's talk a little bit about safe space, right? In all the literature, all the research out there are many definitions about what is safe space. This is one of the definitions that resonate a lot with us. So according to Holley and Steiner, they say a safe space is three things. One, that allows students to feel secure enough to take risks. Two, a space that allows students to express their views. And three, one that enables them to share and explore their knowledge, attitudes, and behaviors. Now, to illustrate what we are talking about, I'm going to share with you a story about our student, Mary. Mary Cassandra first came to our program when she was 17 years old. Mary is from Sabah. She was a Ketua Pengawas in school. She was great at making friends, and she was active in the extracurricular activities. And she had academic excellence. Now, everyone, I have a question for you. Given this profile that you see here of Mary at 17, my question is, in your opinion, how does she feel or think about herself? Take a moment. All right, I'll give you 10 seconds. Just think a little bit. What do you think about how Mary feel or think about herself, given her profile? There will be some words that come to your mind, right? I'm going to take a chance here. Can some people shout out some thoughts, some words that are in your mind? Confident, feel good. Any more? Happy. Outgoing. I hear outgoing. Thank you. Now, when we ask Mary about this, she has this to say at 17. I am not feeling at my highest potential. Why? She's not feeling at the highest potential because, and these are her words, she doesn't have enough space to explore that potential that she has. She doesn't feel confident to voice out her opinion. And she's not confident to speak English. Now, this is not a reflection of school. If you look at her profile, she's a highly successful student. But she has these thoughts in her mind because she's a teenager as well. She's learning about the world. Now, after going through our programs, Mary was with us for a few years. After going through our program, Mary is 21 years old today. And today, Mary, some of the things that she has achieved is she got a 4.0 GPA in her STPM. She's currently in UM, pursuing her second year in university, doing her degree. She is an active participant in university, right? And this is what she has to say at 21 years old today. I am more aware of my potentials. I know who I am, who I can be, what are my strengths, what can be improved. I'm more aware about how I can bring myself to the public. And Mary is not the only person who has said this, things that are along these lines. So in Project ID, what we decided to do was to find out what is the common thread. And again, the common thread was safe space, creating a safe space so that I can explore myself as a student. And in creating safe spaces, now, usually when we run program for teachers and adults teaching about safe space, this is a 2 to 3 day program. But today, for 15 minutes here, I'm going to introduce 3 very simple steps. Steps that you already know, but hopefully steps that we can contextualize, I will contextualize into our students' experiences. And hopefully that can prompt new thinking. So, we found out 3 things, 3 steps that we commonly do in creating safe spaces. The first one was providing acknowledgement and validation. Number 2, allowing space for mistakes and for differences, diversity to come out. And number 3, to start small so that we can celebrate small successes. Now, what does this mean, really? And the thing is, you know this, but I'm going to contextualize with our students' experience. So let's start off with acknowledgement and validation. In Project ID, what we do is, in order to encourage students to share their opinions, like Mary, when she first joined our session, we will always say, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Thank you for stepping up and volunteering. Thank you for stepping in and helping your peers. I appreciate it. And what that brings for our students is that they feel seen and they feel cared for. And again, these words on the right column, on this column side here, on your right side, are students' words, not necessarily just our words. Next, allowing space to make mistakes. What does that mean? So, for us, when students get into programs, there is a space. When it is new, students are prone to make mistakes. For us, we create that mindset where it is okay to make mistakes as long as you're learning from it. Why is this important? Let me bring this to another context at the workplace. From my experience as an employer, as a hiring manager in corporate back in the days, one of the biggest challenges that we face with Malaysian talent is that they are too afraid to make mistakes. And there is a line, because in learning, in some areas, there is right or wrong, right? 100 times 3 is 300, nothing else. The world is not flat, the world is round and spherical, right? Some things are facts. But it is important for us to create space where students feel comfortable to make mistakes so that they are more willing to take risks. And the truth is, when young talent, when they go into the workforce, when they are more willing to take risks, they're more willing to experiment. And when they're more willing to experiment, they innovate. And that is a national priority for our talent. And the last thing is starting small. Celebrate small successes. So, for Project ID, a lot of our students aspire to be like our 2 MCs here, be able to stand in front of the guru besars and the pengetuas and the cikgu with a lot of experience and speak confidently. Not many students can do that. Some can do that naturally, others need some help and training. So with us, we always start small with our students. We first start with, let's facilitate a small group of 4 with your peers. Then let's grow that size into a group of 10 in the next session. And then moderate a session with some of Malaysia's biggest CEOs. And the truth is, for Project ID students, we have hosted sessions with Dato' Nicole David. We have hosted sessions with Farah Ann. We have hosted sessions with CEOs from Air Asia X, Benjamin Ismail, MD of DHL, and they are all moderated by our students. And what this does for them is, through small successes, they're able to feel accomplished. So these are the three things that I'd like to share with you about creating safe spaces: acknowledgement, allowing space to make mistakes, and starting small. But there's one more thing I want to add. A lot of times people will ask me, what is the line between being constructive, giving feedback, and creating an unsafe space? And the truth is, being safe is not the same as being comfortable. Right? Because for our students to grow and learn, they must confront difficult issues that make them feel uncomfortable. Because there is an equation. The equation is level of discomfort equals to growth. There is a correlation in that. And we want to create that space for students to learn. So for us, we never shy away from giving real feedback, from giving honest feedback, and from giving constructive feedback. But the difference, again, between being unsafe and giving honest feedback is intention, Cikgu. Where is our intention? A lot of adults have asked me, how do I make sure that I am creating a safe space, but also tell a child a truth that may make them feel uncomfortable? The first thing I always say is, where are we coming from? Are we coming from a place of frustration with a child making mistake? Or are we coming from a place where we want to serve the child in the interest of their growth? And when you can genuinely ground yourselves, when we can genuinely ground ourselves in that genuine intention of serving our children for their growth, then that's the first step to the right direction. Now the last thing, this very last thing that I want to share about creating safe spaces is that creating safe spaces doesn't just happen when we say we want to do it as leaders. To tell you the truth, for us to create safe space, it started off with me. We, as leaders, in this room, we as leaders have to believe in it. We have to first believe that we need to create this safe space. For our students to experience the safe space, I have to live, I have to talk, walk, breathe safe space language for my students before the Project ID facilitators, before our educators can do that for our students. So, what does this mean? What this means is, if we have the intention to do it for our students, we need to first do it with our team, the people who work with us. In my case, it is my facilitators, it is my project managers. In the context of the school, it is the teachers. I say this because I have the privilege, a real privilege of working with some of my Ketua Panitia, some of my Pengetua in my school, that has created a safe space for us to operate, created a safe space for us to experiment and innovate with our students. And I know that has enabled me to be a much better teacher today. So that's all I wanted to leave with you, right? Three things in creating safe spaces, and recognizing that being safe is not being comfortable, and it starts off with us as leaders to create that intention for change in the classroom. Now, if you're ever interested in some of the programs, if you want to find out some of the programs that we run for students, because we do run free programs, we do have free opportunities for students in Malaysia. We do run LADAP, we do run 2-3 day programs. If you're ever curious about the work that we do, there's a QR code here. Just fill in your details, let us know, get in touch with us. We're happy to always talk to you. If you ever want to find out more about what we have to say, what we have to share about creating safe spaces, I'm always happy to talk to you. My colleague, her name is Kayan, she's in this room somewhere. She runs a lot of our safe space programs. Talk to her. We're happy to share more with you. Thank you so much.
Terima kasih Encik Kelvin Tan atas perkongsian penuh bermakna itu tadi.
Hadirin, kita berhenti rehat seketika untuk jamuan petang yang telah disediakan di luar bilik ini. Para hadirin dimohon untuk kembali semula ke Dewan Utama ini pada pukul 4 petang untuk majlis perasmian. Sekian, terima kasih. Saya ulang. Para hadirin dimohon untuk kembali semula ke Dewan ini pada pukul 4.10 petang.